Hello everyone, welcome back. I am so happy to have you here with me in today's lower body and core focused power series. I love our practice because we are targeting, activating, burning out our abs and our glutes, but we're gonna do all of that while being on our back the entire time. So this is an incredible workout for those days where you don't necessarily feel energized enough to want to be jumping around or using props or doing a higher intensity workout, but we're still gonna be sculpting and toning the muscles just in a more restorative way. So let's hop right into it. You can come to your back, lying down on the mat. And once you're there, you're gonna have your knees bent and those feet planted. Hands are on either side of your hips. Our first series is gonna definitely call on some concentration, a little bit of coordination work, and throughout our practice, we're gonna be working to deepen our mind to muscle connections. So to call those intentions forward, let's take a couple moments to tune into our breath. Maybe with the eyes closed. Inhaling through the nose, make it slow, full-bodied and controlled. And then exhaling out the mouth. On your inhale, feel your ribs opening, your belly ballooning, heart center stretching. And then on those exhales, start to knit your ribs together, connecting to your core muscles as you flex through your abdominals. Let's do one more round of breath. And on your exhale, letting go of any outside noises, voices, distracting thoughts. Allowing the eyes to open when you finish your breath, feeling yourself arrive fully in this moment on your mat. Good, finding a little pelvic tilt. So your back is gently pressing into the mat. That's gonna help us engage our core muscles. And then from here, taking this next series super slow. Try not to rush through it. It does take, like I said, a little bit of coordination work. We're gonna begin by lifting our right leg to tabletop. Make sure knee is right over the hip. We don't want it pulling closer to the shoulders. Left leg lifts to meet it. Right leg lowers. Left leg lowers. Left leg leads first. Right leg lifts. Left leg lowers. Right leg lowers. Switching which side leads each time. Right lifts. Left lifts. Try to stick with me at this pace. Right lowers. Left lowers. Left lifts. Right. Left. And right. Right. Left. It's going to be more challenging when we move slowly and with control like this. Keep your back flat, bracing your core, breathing. Left lifts, right lifts, left lowers. Make sure you're stepping that foot away from the knee rather than setting the foot down right underneath where the knee was stacked. Good. You can count in your head or say left, right, out loud if that helps. You take it slow. We're gonna do one more with the right leg leading. And then we're gonna finish with the left leg leading. And then when both those feet are back on the mat, you're gonna pause. Good. So you should feel just a little bit of those lower abs starting to activate and turn on. We're gonna interlace hands together. Make sure you create a nice supportive hammock-like shape for the back of the head. Elbows are wide, feet are gently pressing into the mat, lower back is imprinted. Let's take an inhale to prep. Exhale, find your ab curl. Trying to get those shoulder blades off the mat. Finish your exhale before you start to inhale and lower. You can finish your inhale with the head resting before you exhale and lift. Aiming to lift that chest towards where the wall and the ceiling meet. In most rooms, that's a good cue. So we're kind of lifting up towards the ceiling, but then we find that little curve towards the knees. But make sure you don't compromise that lift. Thinking about that rib cage again, can you exhale, knit the ribs, flex the abs? Good. Last 3. 2. Head is heavy in those hands. Last one, we're gonna hold at the top. Good. Find your breath. Pulse it out for 5. Lift and drop 4. Slow it down 3, 2, all the way up, all the way back down. Super good. Release your head. Hands are gonna come to either side of your hips, and you're just gonna make sure those feet are in parallel underneath your knees. Hip distance apart. We're gonna start by flattening our back. Start to tuck your tailbone under on the exhale. Lift your hips up into bridge. Take a moment. We want ribs down, hip bones high. And then we're gonna lower on the inhale. Back flattens, we scoop abs back. Squeeze glutes and lift on the exhale. The breath always holds us accountable for our speed. So we don't want to cut the breath short, but we're pairing it with the movement, which might mean we have to slow the movement down so everything's in sync. As you lift, you're connecting to your core muscles. You're getting those hip bones all the way up. We want to flatten the crease in the hips at that highest point. And we're going to do a couple different versions of bridge today. So I want you to tune in to your mind to muscle connections and just get really present. Where do you feel the work happening in this movement? We know we're working the lower body, but where specifically? Is it the back of the legs, the front of the legs, the glutes? Is it kind of the upper part of the booty, the lower part, the sides? Get really specific. Last 2. The next time you're in bridge, you're gonna pause. Press heavy into the heels, connect to your core. Give me 5 pulses. My pulses are slow and controlled. It's more like a drop, lift. Last 2. Last one, all the way to the top. Hold for a couple seconds, feel that activation, remember it, absorb it, and then we're gonna come all the way down. Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and lift the legs to tabletop. Sometimes I like to take my hips and kind of scooch them away from the shoulders so my torso is nice and long and that back can stay flat. And again, check in, knees are right over those hip bones. They sometimes want to pull closer, but we're gonna press those thighs away. Good, without arching the back, we're gonna start to do alternating toe taps. Stick with me at first so you get the speed. We're gonna inhale, right toes reach away, tap the mat. Exhale, feel your core pulling, leg back. And left side. And restack. Good, it's gonna make a simple movement like this more challenging. You're gonna get more activation in the core. And ultimately, you're also gonna be doing the movement properly and with better form because you have the space to take things slow and check in with the knees, with the toes, with the breath. Good. Maybe toes are tapping 2 inches further away from those glutes. Make sure you're not bending your knee to tap the toes. We're taking that 90-degree shape and reaching it away. Good. Almost there. Last 3. Stay present. Where do you feel this progression happening? We're gonna finish with those left toes tapping. And you're gonna bring the knee back. Take your time. Check in that you have that perfectly stacked leg. Interlace hands behind the back of your head. Relax head into the palm of the hands, elbows wide. Let's do our ab curls. Exhale to lift. Finish the breath, then we inhale and lower. Legs don't move. Just head, neck, and shoulders. Maybe shoulder blades are getting off the mat. Find your breath again. It's easy to hold it without even noticing, but it's gonna give you that extra bit of energy and it's gonna help engage your core muscles more. Good, finding that lift up and then curling towards those knees. You got it. Last 4. Attention on the ribs. 3. Press those knees away. 2. Give me 1 strong ab curl. Let's hold at the top. Good, relaxing face. Give me those pulses or those lifts up for 5, 4, 3. Knit your ribs, lift a little higher. 2. 1 more lift. All the way back down, and then the feet can lower after. Super good. Take a moment. Relax the head. Good. From here, we're gonna walk our heels a little closer to the glutes, and then we're gonna come on to the balls of our feet. And you can always adjust after a rep or 2 if things don't feel like they're in the perfect alignment, but it's gonna feel a little bit different with those heels lifted. Starting by flattening your back, we're gonna curl up into our bridge and just hold for a moment at the top. So heels are lifted, hips are high, and then we're gonna roll back down. Try to keep the heels lifted the entire time. If you're getting a cramp or anything or need to adjust, You can obviously set the toes and the feet down to adjust, but this is a really nice stretch for the front of the feet, which is nice. And you're also gonna get more height, as I'm sure you can feel, with your bridge lifts. It's like we're wearing a pair of heels. We can just get up a little bit taller. But we wanna be mindful in this position that we're not lifting from the belly or the ribs or the chest. You're lifting from your hip bones and pelvis. Sometimes with that extra height, the ribs can pop or the belly can kind of lift up. But we still want to be in that straight line from the knees all the way to the shoulders. Good, find your breath, exhale to lift. And then now that activation is starting, get present again. Where do you feel this happening? Maybe compared to our first version with the feet on the mat. We have 3 more. Bracing your core. Hands are there to help you. You can press palms down into the mat for support. Last 2. Let's all meet in our bridge lift with those heels lifted. From here, we're gonna drop an inch, pulse up an inch. Slow, controlled reps. Good. Maybe you're feeling a little more hamstring work. We definitely are working the calves. Give me one more nice big lift to the top. Keep your heels lifted as you roll down one more time. Then you can set the heels down. Good. You can do a little pedal or shake it off through those ankles. And then we just have one more progression with each of those exercises. So from here, back is flat. Hands are on either side of your hips, and you're gonna lift your legs to tabletop. Let's take a nice big inhale to prep. Exhale. Knitting ribs, bracing core. And then we're gonna inhale, take both the toes, reach them away, tap the mat. Exhale, use your core to restack the knees. Inhale, we reach and tap. Exhale, we pull it back. If this feels like it's too much on your lower back, you could do your alternating toe taps again, maybe focusing on reaching your leg further away or straightening it. That's a nice progression between this and our previous exercise. But just think about it as one rep at a time. You can pause through center, reconnect with your breath and core, and then get into that next rep when you feel that energy. Good, stay present with it. Good, last 3. And 2. Last one. You're gonna pull your knees back through center. You're gonna interlace your hands, bring them to the back of the head, elbows wide. From here, we're gonna straighten our legs up to the ceiling, pointing toes. Let's do our ab curls like this. I find with this version, I feel lots of upper abs, lots of lower abs. It's probably the version where you feel the most activation in the front of the core. Good, still lifting up and over at the very end. Try to get all the way off the mat with those shoulder blades. Good, we're almost there. We're gonna pulse it out at the end, and then we're done with the core section of our practice. Good, give me 3. And 2, keep the legs as still as you can. Take a nice big inhale. We're holding this next one up. Good, relax head and hands, pulse it out. 5, lift up like you want to touch your nose to your toes. 3, 1 more nice big lift. Good, head, neck, and shoulders lower first, bend the knees, set the feet down. Amazing work. You're resting head, neck, and shoulders. We just have 1 more progression for bridge. We did flat feet, we did elevated heels, and now we're gonna do lifted toes. So take a second, thinking about your heels underneath your knees or maybe just slightly in front of them. Toes are pointed up to the ceiling. So we have that flexion through the ankle. You're gonna flatten your back, and then you're gonna exhale, lift your hips up. Take a moment at the top, and then come all the way down. Good, so stretching that ankle in the opposite direction. Still articulating your pelvic tilt. Holding for just a second or 2 at the top. Bringing it all the way down with control. You got it. And then tuning back into the body. If the mind does wander, call it back. Asking yourself where you feel this work happening in your body. Compared to those other 2 progressions, maybe you feel a little more of the glute max. Good, getting nice and deep into that hip flexor stretch, opening up our quads. Give me 3 more lifts. Last 2. Let's lift to the top and hold. Good, keep those toes lifted. Pulse it out for 5. Drop, lift, and squeeze 4. Connect to your core and lift 3. 2. Good, you should be feeling lots of that booty work. Last one. Toes stay lifted as you roll down. And then the feet can lower after. Might feel good to kind of point your toes. And then we're just gonna give the knees a nice big hug. Take a couple seconds there. Good, you can pedal the feet while you hold through center, stretching out the back, ankles, hamstrings. Good. And then when you're ready, you can rock yourself up to a seated position. We are all done with today's practice, and I hope you really enjoyed. We definitely worked the lower abs, upper abs, glutes, and hamstrings. And you can play around with those 3 different versions and those progressions and see where you could work on your strength, where you could work on your coordination. And again, we get so much more out of our exercises and our time on our mat through those mind to muscle connections, that presence, and our control. So thank you again. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, I would love to have you be a part of the community, and I hope you have the most wonderful rest of your day. I will see you soon.